we are making a very delicious meatball and sotanghon soup for you, especially now that it's raining season. And I'm just like smashing my garlic, preparing all my ingredients to make my meatballs. Usually it's called Almondigas. We've seen that a lot of times and always think of the meatballs and the miswa. Pero in reality, the word just means meatballs. No? So it can be any sort of recipe of meatballs. It can be just by itself. It can be with certain sauces or any kind of soup with or without noodles. So I'm just adding my garlic here. And this is just ground pork. It's around 300 grams of ground pork. I'm adding my minced onions. And I'm grating like half a carrot. The rest I will add to my soup. But half the carrot I will add to my meatballs. To make my meatballs, I make sure that my ground pork is properly chilled. And usually I prefer meatballs that has an amount of fat. So for my ground pork, I'm using 20% fat. I'm adding here flour, just all-purpose flour, and 2 eggs. 2 eggs, adding it here. And to season, I will just season with a bit of salt, around a teaspoon. And I'm just adding oyster sauce. And I will just like mix everything together. Very important that your ground pork is properly chilled so that it will have your very nice texture. You want to have meatballs that have a bouncy texture. Meatballs that don't crumble. No? Very important. No? You can use your hands like I am doing to emulsify, no? To mix everything properly. But you can also use a spatula. So I'll use my spatula now and just mix everything together, no? Until you have like a pasty consistency. And I have to add black pepper. I forgot to add black pepper. I'll just add a bit of ground black pepper. You will notice that the mixture becomes a bit tacky or sticky, no? Mas lumalagkit siya, no? You will see that there are fibers, no? Parang naghihibla yung ating giniling, no? So that's the way to do it. And now look at that. It's a very nice texture. So we will just put that aside. And later we will shape our balls. But in the meantime, I'll prepare my vegetables. I will just like mince my onions and garlic. What I like with my garlic for this is just to slice. And I will just julienne my carrots. Everybody seems to like noodle soups. And we're adding some noodles to this later on. Now, I will saute my aromatics. Not too much oil. Once it's hot enough, just dump everything in. We want that sweet flavor of garlic. That's why I'm adding everything at the same time. And I have here celery stalk. I will just cut it diagonally and add it there. Add it there. And I will just season that with a bit of salt. And I have here a pot of boiling water. Just adding my chicken cube. And it's so simple. So simple to do. Something like for a quick dinner. And I will just add this soup stock to my... have to dissolve everything. Add it there. I may have to add a bit more water. So all the flavors are coming together. I will shape my meatballs. And I will just use the palm of my hands. My hands are clean. Look at that. And we will slowly drop our meatballs into our soup. So you can chill this overnight. It's even going to be more flavorful. What I do, I wet the palm of my hands. Look at that. Add a spoonful of my meatball mixture. Look at that. And just drop it into the pot of boiling water, the broth. And you will know if your meatballs are cooked when they begin floating to the top of your broth. And we are done. I will just keep the rest. So my meatballs have been simmering for a few minutes and it's almost done. I just add this cabbage and I will just stir that in. And I will season with a bit of patis, added dinamnam. Yan. And Sotanghon. And I'm using Good Life Sotanghon or Vermicelli Noodles. Add it in. Yan. Very nice. It cooks very quickly. And it's very important when you're serving dishes like this is that you serve it right away. I am now adding my black pepper. Yan. Very rustic, home-style dish. Something your kids would probably love because kids love meatballs. So, tell me, how do you like your meatballs? Do you want it properly shaped or something very rustic? But if it's very rustic, this one looks like a football. This one looks like a golf ball. Add our celery leaves and we're done. Ready to serve our meatballs and Sotanghon soup. And look at that lovely noodles. Chewy, but you know, very silky when you eat it. You know, sarap nito. Perfect sa tag-ulan. And you usually have dried noodles at home. So this is a recipe you should probably like keep or save, memorize because it's so good, it's so simple. So if you're loving this recipe, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will learn a lot of simple recipes, and when you run out of ideas, just check our site and surely you will get a recipe that's suitable for your needs. And ito, I will eat and I'm just going to sip some of the broth. Ang sarap niya. And also, when you boil the vegetables and add the meatballs, it also flavors the broth. So, talagang sobrang malasa. So, I will just allow myself to enjoy my meatball soup. Very nice. If there are other memorable dishes you want to learn to cook, please message us. Just comment down below and we will try to cook those recipes for you. So simple. Okay, you have to do it at home. Try it at home. You can add other vegetables. You can add pechay, you can add kangkong, you can add bok choy or spinach, no, or broccoli leaves or whatever you have at home. And it's still going to be so good and so simple. And here it is, our recipe for today. Meatballs and Sotanghon soup. Simple. Tara, kain tayo!